Hi, I'm Demi, founder and CEO of You're the Book Press and editor-in-chief in Self Pub magazine, here in the studio with Cleopatra, who just left, and author Pamela H. Bender. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope she comes back. Those of you who are my readers know I always write with my cat Millie.
Well, my fear is that you who are cat people understand what cats love to show the most. So I can only imagine what's going to happen when she jumps up on one of our laps. But we're cat people, so go fearlessly. When did you first become a writer?
I knew I was going to be a writer even as a young girl. I always was dressing up, thinking about different plots. I grew up in a very artistic home where imagination was fostered. Wonderful parents.
Wonderful parents. Who was your favorite author?
My favorite author who really shaped me as a writer as well was Marjorie Rawlings. As a young reader, I read The Yearling, and the way she understood the feeling between people and animals just connected with my soul. Then I wrote several books back in the 80s and reconnected with a book from Marjorie Rawlings called Cross Creek. And in that, she talks about being rejected in the many books she wrote until her editor said, write about what you love and what you know. And I look at that and reread that book every year, and that's what I did. And from that moment on, my books came to life.
Where were you at in life in the 80s?
In the 80s, I was married with 3 children living at home. And then I had a chapter in my life, which is talked about in Rising Up, where I left an abusive marriage and had to strike out with my 3 children and redesign my life.
So there was a lot of powerful real-life pieces to work into.
Oh, absolutely.
Did any of those work themselves out through the pen?
Yes, they did. You realize a lot more about what motivates you, what makes you do the things you're doing, because your characters, as a writer, you analyze and have to know them completely inside and out. And we as women never take time to do that to our own self. When you're a writer, you do.
I'm scared of what I'll find. Who encouraged you in your writing?
My mother and father both did. My mother said, you can do anything you set your mind to.
Well, she was right.
Absolutely. And my father knew that I was always right, and he said to me back in the day, in the 80s, someday you'll write the way you want to write, not the way your editors or agents are telling you. And then you will be the essence of you.
Well, I think you've found your voice now.
Thank you.
And it's a beautiful one.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Who do you keep writing for?
Definitely my readers. Writers are hungry, just like you're hungry for food. They're hungry for feedback.
Some of them are hungry because their books aren't selling. So purchase.
But they're hungry for support too, and my readers are so important to me. Also, my husband Joe, who is the love of my life that I found at age 60, and Millie and my children. But Millie is my cat, and as I said, she sits on my chair when I write and knocks me with her paw when I haven't been sitting and writing. She
Really?
wakes me up and says, it's time.
Like the little timer.
Yes, the little timer.
That's fantastic. I wish I had a Millie of my own. My cats want to sit right on top of the keyboard.
Oh, that's cute. I have to also add, Demi has been just so important to me, helping me organize, motivating me, and being my publisher. So thank you too.
Again, you know, Donna and I had this discussion in an earlier session. I did not slip Pam a 50.
No, but she has slipped me great gems of wisdom that have made these books come to life.
So I know your books have some elements of real life in them.
Everyone does.
Tell us a little bit about places here locally that readers might find in your books but recognize from real life.
You know, that, I'm glad you mentioned that. Rising Up and Worlds Apart, and these 3 books, Aurora's Glow, The Shepherd's Hook, and Raising Desire, all take place in York County. The characters are eating in places like Wiener World or Roosevelt Tavern. They are walking down Philadelphia Street. We have a woman mayor in Aurora's Glow, and a lot of the areas and the information you get is the life they're living alongside of all of you.
That's fabulous. Are there elements in Shepherd's Hook? Aren't you affiliated with a local crafting store?
Yes, Manning's, that takes place in Manning's in East Berlin, and Carol, who is the owner, let me use her real name and her husband's name. And it also reflects on the fact that Joe and I have a 4-H club with 45 girls that do sheep to shawl. And so all that crafting comes to place in the plot.
So you're a crafter in real life.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about the items on the table here today.
My family, if you made it, it had worth. It was valued. Anything homemade was valued. So this I'll be selling at, I sell my artwork and my little bugs, each of them. This is Bonnie Blue, and this is Ruby Red. These are called my zany bugs. They're great gifts for people. And then these, because I can't do stained glass for everybody, it takes too long. I do a little bit of stained glass, and you get it sent to your home and light up in your garden.
Oh, Ruby Red wants to fly here. Sit up, Ruby. Show us how pretty.
I think that's why I like to write, though, Demi. All my life, from a child, was taught to work in the zone and in the flow of creativity. And it's where I'm happiest, where I'm totally focused on a project I love, and time and everything else fades away, but just the characters in the book or what you're creating with your hands comes to life. It's where I'm happiest. I love retirement.
Are there elements of the writing process that feed you more than other parts of it?
I love researching my novels because I was a grant writer, and I enjoyed doing a lot of research to make sure I want my readers to learn interesting facts. And so I want to be right on target with what I say in them. Essentially, the feeling and the connection between all the characters is inspired by the people I've known that were leading these lives. And you'll see 2 of my books, The Shepherd's Hook and Aurora's Glow, reference and take part. There are soldiers who are suffering from PTSD. And we talk a lot about them coming home from Afghanistan and Baghdad. And Joe and I have now 19 grandchildren, and 2 of which have been overseas and have shared with us. And we've talked a lot with people that have experienced that. So it's a window into what our soldiers are feeling when they come home.
That's incredible. Are there, do you organize your plot before you sit down to write, or are you more of the seat of the pantser?
I get to know my characters. I write in my head. I think I know where I'm going. And by the 5th or 6th chapter, I am like a reader. Until I put my fingers on the keyboard, I don't know what's going to happen. It's just like I'm reading. And like you, when you get caught up in a book, you don't want to put it down. I am up 2 o'clock in the morning because I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
Do you have a special place in your house where you write at 2 o'clock in the morning? Because my husband would be freaking out.
Yes, Joe is just wonderful. He's so supportive. I have my own office, and Millie sits on the back of my lounge chair, and it's also a place where I can interview people and get information too. So it's a quiet place that I feel very relaxed in.
Would you have any suggestions for those who are viewing us today about what they might do with their own stories or story ideas that they have brewing?
Well, my first suggestion is what to do about your own life is...
We said this wasn't therapy.
Yes. 4 strategies that a writer uses, I often go around and speak about to groups. And the first one is live your life in chapters. Give yourself permission to end one and move forward. The second one is that you live in the presence. Don't live in the past or the future. And you can connect with the presence by using all your senses. Learn to smell things and feel things and touch your fingers across. That will ground you in the presence, and then you will be really experiencing your life. And the third thing is to make sure that you're on the right path. Verify you're going in the right direction, and that is done by just spending quiet time and listening to your inner voice. We all know when we're messing up, but we don't let ourselves listen. And the last thing is be like a writer. Edit what is not positive in your life, including people, food, places, jobs, whatever. You are writing your own story. So edit out what isn't helping the plot get to where you want to be.
I wish you'd been my mom.
You're sweet.
That's such sage advice. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for reading my books.